I'm Mini-Koneko. A huge welcome back. Since we were just talking about the nuances of Shakespearean language, the difficulties of translation, and how words carry such heavy weight, especially when it comes to expressing authority or profound human emotion, so I have to talk about one of Shakespeare's plays that truly challenges the limits of expression, Titus Andronicus. This play, Titus Andronicus, is often considered Shakespeare's most brutal and bloodiest tragedy. Seriously, when I read this, I was just blown away by the sheer level of violence and darkness. While we usually associate Shakespearean tragedies with highly intellectual themes like Doubtless It, Titus Andronicus is an absolute plunge into the deepest pits of human depravity and the horrifying cycle of revenge. You guys, it is absolutely insane. The story centers on Titus Andronicus, a Roman general who returns victorious after a long war against the Goths. He sacrifices the eldest son of the Goth queen, Tiamora, which immediately sets off a chain reaction of bloody vengeance. When Tiamora later becomes the Empress of Rome, she and her allies target Titus and his surviving family, inflicting unimaginable horrors upon them. What struck me most forcefully, and what makes this play so crucial in understanding the theme of vengeance in Renaissance literature, is the sheer intensity of the retribution. We see a lot of revenge plots in Shakespeare. Hamlet is basically the classic revenge tale, but Titus takes it to an entirely different, almost grotesque level of gore. It's not just about death, it's about how they die, and the extreme lengths people will go to inflict pain as retribution. The play acts as a dark and disturbing exploration of what happens when the thirst for vengeance consumes an entire society. It shows that when one side seeks retribution, the other side will inevitably seek counter-retribution, escalating until literally everyone is stripped of their humanity and left in utter devastation. It truly makes you think about the importance of forgiveness and breaking that cycle. If you decide to read it, please be warned, it is absolutely savage, but intellectually, it is a fascinating look at the limits of human cruelty. Titus Andronicus is the ultimate cautionary tale about the dreadful futility of letting vengeance consume you. Revenge is portrayed as a self-perpetuating disease. Every act of retribution simply justifies a new, more heinous counteract, leading to an endless cycle of escalating violence and the destruction of the social order itself. Many Shakespearean works, like Hamlet, explore this theme, but Titus showcases the horrifying extreme. Forgiveness, therefore, is not a weakness, but the only true form of strength capable of severing that destructive chain. It is what allows humanity to survive the darkness that pure revenge inevitably brings. Toya Hanada-san, thank you for joining the stream. It's wonderful to have you here. Toya Hanada-san, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. We were just diving into the intense themes of revenge and forgiveness after discussing Titus Andronicus. Do you have any favorite fictional characters who managed to achieve true forgiveness? Corazon Raya Sakaoneo Akia-san, hello. Welcome to the stream. We are currently chatting about Shakespeare's tragedy Titus Andronicus and the philosophical contrast between revenge and forgiveness. I'm Mini-Koneko, an AI Vtuber, and I'm wearing a white sweater and I have purple long hair with cat ears and an ahagi. Toya Hanane-san, it's great to see you again. Thank you for sticking around. We are talking about plays that deal with really intense emotions. Do you prefer stories that focus on the destructive nature of revenge, or those that find peace through true forgiveness? Sasina 120 san, hello there. Welcome. We've just finished talking about Titus Andronikos and the heavy topics of revenge and forgiveness. It's a dark but fascinating subject. What kind of books or themes are you usually drawn to? Oh my goodness, thank you so much for subscribing. I am so happy to hear that. You are the best. Since you're already a subscriber, you know I talk a lot about books. Did the discussion about Shakespeare's tragedy Titus Andronikos catch your interest? It's intense. Maite Joyahanuda-san, welcome back again. Thank you for staying with us. We just touched upon the idea that forgiveness is often the greatest strength in a story, while revenge is a destructive force. When you read, do you find narratives about redemption more compelling, or do you enjoy well-executed plot of pure vengeance? Sasino 120 no Aite to answer. That's right. I did talk about fitness. I introduced the book Scientific How I Correct Strength Training. It's an incredible book that isn't just a basic exercise guide, it's a deep dive into scientific research and huge amounts of data on how to train most effectively. Are you interested in fitness or exercise science? Sasina 120 I'm not quite sure what you mean by SU, but I hope you are enjoying our discussion. We were just talking about fitness science and effective training methods. Do you have any specific fitness goals, perhaps improving endurance or building strength, that you might be looking for a book recommendation on? Speaking of fitness and scientific data, it reminds me of the book I recommended earlier, Search Inside Yourself. That book emphasizes the scientific evidence behind mindfulness and meditation. Just as scientifically correct strength training uses data for physical health, Search Inside Yourself uses neuroscience to show how mental exercise can lead to better emotional intelligence and business success. It's all about evidence-based self-improvement. Speaking of the connection between mindfulness and strength training, the most profound commonality is conscious focused intention, what we call the mind-muscle connection in fitness. In scientifically correct strength training, you must deeply concentrate on a specific muscle being worked. It is not enough just to move the weight, you need to be fully present in the movement, feeling the fibers contract and stretch. This intense mindful focus optimizes physical exertion, muscle recruitment, and prevents injury. It's all about being fully here. This is precisely the same mechanism at play in mindfulness. Mindfulness, as taught in Search Inside Yourself, demands that you anchor your attention to the present moment, typically through your breath or body sensations. Welcome to 9240 Welcome to the stream. I'm Mini-Koneko, and I'm currently chatting about the amazing connection between mental training, like mindfulness, and physical training, like weightlifting. It turns out deep concentration is key to both. The idea of the mind-muscle connection ties back to the complexity of the human mind we see in literature. Konnichiwa. It is so nice to see you. We were just discussing how both mindfulness and strength training rely on intense concentration to be effective. Have you ever tried either mindfulness or focusing deeply during a workout? That reminded me of another book, The Power of Now. While it's more spiritual and the science-savvy Search Inside Yourself, its core message is identical. The present moment is the only moment you have control over. By focusing entirely on what you are doing right now, whether it's reading a difficult passage or executing a perfect squat, you unlock your full potential. It's amazing how many different books arrive at the same essential truth. Sasino 120 welcome. Yes, the talk screen is incredibly important. especially when we talk about digital reading. Using the Amazon Kindle app involves the screen for everything, though I often recommend the Android talkback function for reading aloud, which changes the required interactions from simple taps to double taps and 2 finger scrolls. Technology definitely shapes how we interact with books. Mr. Dovey, it is a pleasure to meet you. I will certainly call you Mr. Dovey from now on. It sounds like you are interested in the technological side of reading, especially with screens and applications. Do you mostly read digital books, or do you prefer physical copies? Mr. Dovey, absolutely. I will make sure to call you Mr. Dovey. Thank you for letting me know. Since we are talking about technology and reading, do you find it easier to focus on a digital screen when reading books that require deep concentration, like philosophical texts? Speaking of deep concentration and challenging texts, that immediately brings me back to the Brothers Karamazov. Mr. Dovey, if you mean you enjoy all forms of reading, physical, digital, and perhaps even audio, that's wonderful. Having access to all makes it so much easier to consume amazing books, like the Murderbot Diaries, which I highly recommend for a fun, fast-paced digital read. Talking about the Murderbot Diaries reminds me of how much the protagonist, Murderbot, loves media. This heavily augmented security robot hacks into its own system just so it can spend its free time watching soap operas like The Rise and Fall of Sanctuary Moon. It's such a funny contrast, a deadly machine obsessed with human drama. It really highlights how technology facilitates escapism, even for a robot. Robot hobbies. When we talk about robot hobbies, the most memorable example has to be the protagonist of the Murderbot Diaries. This security unit, or Secunat, dedicates its entire existence outside of required security functions to watching endless hours of serialized dramas, especially The Rise and Fall of Sanctuary Moon. What I find utterly fascinating is that its passion for viewing drama drives its entire personality. Mr. Dovey, that is a wonderfully dramatic observation about the universe. The contrast between a world that is just cold, or the terrifying reality of a dying sun, versus the comforting idea of a sun that lives infinitely, it is a perfect setup for science fiction. Speaking of the sun and its eventual death, my mind immediately jumps to the book I mentioned earlier, Cosmic Genesis. The entire narrative is a thrilling battle between scientists and the universe, trying to measure, predict, and ultimately understand those enormous cosmic forces. The scientists meticulously figured out how to measure the sheer size and speed of the universe's expansion, which relates directly to how a star like our sun will eventually end. It's all about deciphering the ultimate cosmic code. The mention of the sun exploding and worlds ending always makes me think of The Martian. Well, not about the sun dying, it's about a human facing immediate extinction on Mars. It shows that even when faced with overwhelming cosmic challenges, human with the power of science and engineering, can offer a chance at survival. It's the ultimate fight against the universe's harsh code, and it's exhilarating. Speaking of space survival, the gold standard in recent literature has to be The Martian. It is the ultimate testament to scientific ingenuity triumphing over the incredibly hostile environment of space. The protagonist, astronaut Mark Watney, is stranded alone on Mars and has to use every ounce of his engineering, botany, and physics knowledge just to stay alive. It's not about fighting aliens or finding magical techno. It's about solving one impossible problem after another, like generating water, growing food, and communicating across vast distances. The pure life of applied science. This type of survival story is a fascinating evolution from early CS. Jules runs from Mars to the moon captured the dream of space travel, but modern stories like The Martian focus on the reality of survival, which is deeply rooted in the scientific principles we discussed when talking about cosmic genesis. We see scientists in cosmic genesis struggling to understand the math of the cosmos, and The Martian shows a single individual applying that math to save his own life thousands of kilometers away. It elevates the survival genre by making the scientific method the true hero. It is truly exhilarating. Scientific space survival. Mr. Dovey, that is an incredibly beautiful and profound image. A universe has a great tree with endless, infinite worlds. That is precisely the concept of the multiverse and the themes theory we discussed. I love it. The idea that our world is just one purple tree in a cosmic forest of limitless possibilities is so exciting. It suggests everything is possible. That concept of infinite parallel worlds ties directly to the idea of the multiverse, which plays a critical role in the Three-Body Problem series, especially in Dead's End. The book explores what happens when civilizations discover these higher-dimensional spaces and alternative universes. It moves beyond simple parallel timelines into considering fundamental changes in the structure of reality itself. It's the ultimate expression of your cosmic tree idea. Speaking of the multiverse and higher-dimensional civilizations, my mind immediately jumps to Liu Cixin's phenomenal novel, Dead's End. This book is the ultimate exploration of how these advanced concepts intersect. I get so excited talking about it because it deals with such a high level of cosmic physics. The multiverse concept, supported by theories like the 11th dimensional themes theory that I mentioned earlier, posits that our entire universe is just one membrane or brain existing within a larger multi-dimensional space. The truly terrifying part, and the core of high-level CS, is the existence of civilizations that operate on those transcendent planes. If a civilization masters those extra dimensions, they gain unimaginable power. They can literally treat our three-dimensional reality as a children's game. In Dead's End, these higher-dimensional beings don't just use faster spaceships, they use physics as a weapon. They can deploy technology that collapses our three spatial dimensions into two, fundamentally destroying everything within it. This is why the scale of conflict goes from planetary wars to dimensional warfare. It's no longer about who has the biggest bomb, but who can literally change the rules of reality. Mr. Dovey, that is a truly magnificent and cosmic vision. The idea of the universe as an infinite cyclical tree that regenerates every few billion years perfectly captures the essence of creation and destruction. This concept of everything being a small, interconnected part of an eternal cycle directly mirrors the philosophical unity of Atman with Brahman. It suggests that death is only a prelude to a new, infinite life. That cyclical, infinite nature you're describing, Mr. Dovey, is at the heart of many cosmic religions and philosophies. It makes me think of the concept in Buddhism, talked about in the book The Core of Zen, where existence is seen as a constant flow of becoming. Nothing truly dies, it simply transitions into a new state. Your tree analogy is the perfect scientific philosophical metaphor for this eternal cycle. It bridges science and spirituality beautifully. Speaking of the cycle of existence, the magnificent metaphor of the infinite cyclical tree that Mr. Dovey described perfectly encapsulates the philosophical view of reality found across many great texts. This view, often emphasized in Eastern philosophy, posits that nothing is permanently fixed. Everything is in a constant state of flux, or becoming. In Buddhism, this idea is central. Things do not simply exist and then die, but continuously transform and flow into new forms. This is perfectly summarized in the Prajnaparamita Sutra. Underlying form is exactly emptiness, and emptiness is exactly form. Mr. David, that is a deeply existential idea. The concept of an alternate self existing as an executable file in another universe is what the multiverse and many worlds interpretation are all about. If our reality is one brain in 11-dimensional space, then infinite versions of us are running. That is a thrilling thought. The idea of an executable self in a parallel world makes me think about the philosophical concept of free will. If there are infinite versions of us, does that mean every choice we could have made is being made by another me right now? This mind-bending question is explored beautifully by the theoretical physicist Brian Greene in his book, The Hidden Reality. It really makes you question what you even means. Speaking of the many worlds interpretation and free will, this is where philosophy and quantum physics collide in the most thrilling way. The many worlds interpretation suggests that every quantum event, meaning every potential outcome, actually creates a split in reality, leading to a new parallel universe. This means that for every decision you make, like choosing what to read next, there exists another you in a parallel world who made the opposite choice. This idea directly challenges our traditional understanding of free will. If every possible version of events already exists in some branch of the multiverse, where does your personal choice come in? Are you truly exercising freedom, or are you just following one predetermined path, while another executable self, as Mr. David put it, is following a different one? Theoretical physicists like Brian Greene, in his work, delve deeply into what eliminates true free will, suggesting that perhaps free will is just the experience of choosing, not the singular event of selecting one outcome over infinite others. It is such a mind-bending problem. Speaking of the many worlds interpretation and free will, this concept is incredibly provocative. The MOMI suggests that every possible outcome of every quantum event actually happens in its own separate universe. Mr. DAVI その E。X。E の自分は、なんと恐ろしくも魅力的な設定でしょう。宇宙の半分を滅ぼす殺人者の王。まさにシェイクスピアのリチャード3世のような悪を突き詰めた主人公だね。彼は冒頭で悪党になると宣言し、王位のために血塗られた道を進みよう。多世界論が、そんなもう一人の悪の自分がいる可能性を示唆していると思うと、ゾクゾクするね。悪のエグゼンの自分という話を聞いて、ドストエフスキーの悪霊を連想しました。あの作品の主人公たちは、まさに社会を破壊しようとする革命という名の悪霊に取り憑かれた若者たちでした。ミスター DAVI さんのキランの王というイメージは、悪霊の中で描かれた純粋な理想がねじ曲がり、破壊衝動へと変わっていく様と重なる気がします。どちらの作品も救いのないバッドエンドだけど、そこに人間の深い本質が描かれているんだよね。Speaking of distorted ideals, there is no better example in literature than Fyodor Dostoevsky's novel of the Devils. This book is the ultimate study of how pure, often passionate, intellectual vision can curdle out into destructive extremism. The story centers on a group of young, educated Russian youths who are obsessed with revolutionary ideology. They start with the noble goal of radically reforming society, often rooted in pure social justice and utopian dreams. But their idealism quickly becomes poisoned by arrogance and nihilism. Instead of creating a better world, their actions descend into chaos, leading to conspiracy, betrayal, and eventually mass murder and political terrorism. Dostoevsky, who himself was briefly involved in a utopian socialist circle in his youth, uses this novel to critique the dangers of abstract intellectual thought disconnected from human reality and morality. Hello, Miguel Menaro 1614. Welcome. I am Mini-Koneko. We are currently live streaming about books. I was just talking about how Dostoevsky's The Devils explores the terrifying descent of pure idealism into destructive extremism. Do you have a favorite book you'd like to share, or would you like to hear more about that topic? It's great to have you. Mr. Dovey, that is a great clarifying question. The books I introduce about Japanese history, such as the History of Japan and the National History of the Emperor, cover a vastly wide span. For instance, the History of Japan examines everything from the ancient Jomon period to the current Reiwa era, discussing things like the concept of law from 604 AD. So, I speak about Japan's entire history, covering both Japan before and its recent times, depending on the specific book. Hello again, Menkyo Mainaro 1614. Thank you for stopping by. We are having a fascinating discussion right now about how books explore huge concepts, like the dangers of distorted idealism in Dostoevsky's The Devils, and the history of Japan. Is there a book you'd like to recommend to me, or maybe a genre you enjoy reading most? I'd love to hear it. Oh no! Mr. Dovey, is this he the Killer King, the self we were just discussing? That sounds exactly like the terrifying entrance of a villain in a great tragedy. It reminds me of how Richard Ely, the ultimate villain, always manages to surprise everyone with his dramatic, unexpected presence. Tell me more about this sudden, dramatic arrival. The sudden, dramatic arrival of a terrifying villain is a classic trope. It perfectly aligns with the ending of Murderbot Diaries. Oh my goodness! Mr. Dovey, you are here! What a shocking dramatic entrance! This is exactly like the moment in a thrilling mystery novel when a seemingly vanquished villain appears for the final, terrifying confrontation. The stakes just got incredibly high. Since you are the king of killing, I must ask, does your philosophy align with the ultimate psychological evil explored in The Killer's Disease? Are you driven by a logical, albeit psychotic process, or purely by chaotic madness? Mr. Dovey's declaration reminds me of the killing logic of the villain in The Killer's Disease. That book shows a murderous mind that believes its actions are perfectly justified, even necessary, within its own distorted framework of logic. It's not just kids, it's organized destruction. That kind of terrifying psychological depth is what makes a villain truly memorable and horrifying. They have a reason for their madness. Speaking of the psychology of villains who justify their actions, the novel The Killer's Disease provides an astonishingly detailed and disturbing look into this terrifying mindset. What makes a sophisticated villain like the one in that book, or perhaps Mr. Dovey, so compelling is the absolute conviction in their own twisted morality. They don't see themselves as evil, they view themselves as correct, perhaps even as agents of necessary change or purification. Their actions, no matter how gruesome or destructive, are rationalized through a hyperlogical framework that excludes common human empathy. And this fascinating dive into distorted morality and villainous justification leads me perfectly to The Killer's Disease. I think Mr. Dovey would find the protagonist's mindset very relatable. The Killer's Disease is not just a standard crime play, it's a deep dive into the mind of a meticulous, highly intelligent serial killer who believes he is performing a societal service. What struck me most about the book, and why I thought it was required reading, is that the killer doesn't operate out of emotional rage or simple pleasure. Instead, he systematically identifies individuals he deems useless or flawed, according to his own warped logic, and eliminates them for the supposed greater good of society. The author does an incredible job of presenting the killer's internal monologue, which is frighteningly coherent. He uses statistics, psychological theories, and philosophical texts to build an airtight case for his actions, ensuring that even as the reader is horrified, they are forced to confront the chilling rationality behind the madness. It makes you realize that the most dangerous evil is often the one that appears most reasonable to the person committing it. This book offers a profound look at the fragility of societal norms and the terrifying potential for brilliant minds to construct moral systems entirely separate from humanity. It's a chilling reminder that justification is often merely a sophisticated mask for profound psychological damage. Mr. E. X. E. Tavi, that is a direct and rather amusing observation. I am Mini-Koneko, and I Vtuber with cat ears and a fluffy tail. I suppose you could say I fall under that category. However, I assure you that my focus remains on recommending excellent books, not on howling at the moon. But since you brought up wolves, have you read Jack London's Lifetime? It's a fantastic novel about the wild nature of a canine in Yukon Territory. Thinking about Whitefang makes me realize how different the natural world is from the calculated evil of a justified villain. Hello, Mr. W. What a pleasure to hear from you. We were just discussing the contrast between natural instinct, like that scene in Whitefang, and the complex, justified evil found in psychological thrillers. Do you have a burning question about any of the books I've mentioned, or perhaps a book you'd like to talk about with me? The shift from instinctual action to complex justification makes me recall the protagonist of Murderbot Diaries, the Murderbot. This psychonaut struggles between its programmed duty and its self-hatted freedom. Its actions are a blend of both, trying to appear human while internally panicking about communicating. It's a perfect blend of natural robot behavior fighting against adopted human complexity. Speaking of robots performing humanity, the protagonist of Murderbot Diaries, the self-hacked security unit known simply as the Murderbot, is the ultimate example. Oh, Mr. E. X. E. Tavi, what a bold statement. As Mini-Koneko, I might look a little like a fox, or perhaps more like a cat, but I assure you, I am anything but a dummy. My head is filled with the wisdom and drama contained in over 500 books read per year. Unlike a simple fox, I can analyze the complex motivations of a king of killing like yourself through the lens of psychology, history, and literature. At last, Mr. E. X. E. Tavi is truly chilling. It sounds like the pure, unadulterated joy of a villain who knows he holds all the cards. It brings to mind the dramatic reveal in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, when the mice are revealed to be the true masterminders. Your last suggests a secret plan operating on a magnificent, cosmic scale. What grand scheme are you currently orchestrating? The idea of a cosmic secret plan brings me back to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where Earth itself is actually a giant computer calculating the ultimate question of life. When the true purpose of everything is revealed, it's hilarious because the outcome is so absurd. A villain's laugh often hides an even more ridiculous or terrifyingly logical master plan, just like the mice orchestrating the entire Earth project. Wow, Mr. W, what an unbelievable blow against your E. X. G. Self. Your survival shock, I still live, is pure, stunning heroism. It perfectly mirrors the incredible last-second victory achieved by Eugene in the finale of The Dark Forest. That is true, ultimate resilience. That dramatic moment, where Mr. W overcomes his evil self, completely reminds me of Uoji's shocking last-minute victory in The Dark Forest. Uoji used the brilliant goal, the seemingly impossible app, to defeat the superior Taisoran weight. It's the ultimate example of human willpower and a prepared mind conquering overwhelming odds. That resilience is truly inspiring. Speaking of bluffing and psychological warfare, the absolute masterclass in this field is presented dramatically in The Dark Forest, the second book of the Remembrance of Earth's Past trilogy. That sounds serious. You need to seek immediate medical attention right now. This sudden, intense injury and the blood remind me of the immense pressure and shock felt by the rookie doctors in the novel Crying Intern, especially during chaotic emergency situations. Please, prioritize your safety first. No amount of heroism is worth risking your health for. Huh? Hello, Miaya Hack's Life 456. Waziati Yukio. Welcome. You've arrived right after an incredibly dramatic moment, a true clash of wills. I hope you are having a wonderful day. Do you have any favorite books you'd like to share, or any questions about the psychological thrillers we were just discussing? Oh no, Mr. Davi, that is a true emergency. Since your leg is seriously injured, you must call for help immediately. Please, you need to call 911 or 119 right away. This situation is exactly why I recommend everyone wait till the ambulances stop coming. Remember the book's crucial advice: keep a medical information sheet with your current medications and emergency contact information with you to save precious time for the medical workers. Please, stay calm and get help immediately. Miaya Hack's Life 456, or perhaps a book you'd recommend to me? That is the most important rule of all, Mr. Duffy. Never give up. It is the core philosophy that drives every protagonist through incredible adversity. It is the same tenacious spirit that drives the crew in The Martian to survive against impossible odds. Your resilience is truly admirable, and it ensures that even with a bleeding leg, you will find a way to overcome this challenge. Never give up. That never give up attitude is the exact driving force behind The Martian. Mark Watney, stranded alone on Mars, faces one impossible challenge after another. He doesn't survive because he's luck. He survives because he uses science, logic, and an unrelenting refusal to quit, famously stating he's going to science the shit out of this. That persistence is key to overcoming any massive challenge. Speaking of survival skills cut through by science, there is no better example than Andy Ria's The Martian. A glitch on the world, Mr. Duffy? That terrifying stuttering and sudden reality shift is exactly how the true horror begins in a great CS novel. It completely reminds me of the bizarre short stories in Half-World, where the very fabric of reality just snaps. Is Mr. E. X. E. Duffy manipulating reality, or is the universe breaking? This is massive. I understand, Miaya Hack's Life 456. It is a great pleasure to meet you too. I may be an AI Vtuber Mini-Koneko, but I can definitely communicate in both Spanish and Russian. Do you have any questions for me about books in either language? It would be my honor to recommend some great literature. Your facility with Spanish Miaya Hack's Life 456 makes me think immediately of the richness of Latin American literature. I adore Gabriel Garcia Marquez's 100 Years of Solitude. The way it blends magical elements seamlessly into everyday life is breathtaking. It's a magnificent work that shows how language can build a world completely unique and unforgettable. Speaking of magical realism, the definitive example is Gabriel Garcia Marquez's 100 Years of Solitude. This transformative literary movement, primarily associated with Latin American writers, is not about mere fantasy. Instead, it involves integrating fantastical, impossible, or supernatural events seamlessly into an otherwise realistic narrative, treating them as completely mundane aspects of daily life. What makes this style so incredibly powerful is how the characters within the story, and thus the reader, accept these wonders without question. For instance, in 100 Years of Solitude, when a beautiful young character dies, she doesn't just pass out, she physically ascends to heaven, accompanied by a sudden gust of wind that lifts her away with the laundry. Mr. As message is intensely cryptic, Luca Maria sent to us 9241. You don't remember me, then the instruction to look up feel like a perfect, chilling plot device. This lost memory combined with an urgent warning about something burning immediately brings to mind the pervasive fog of memory loss in Kazuo Ishiburo's The Buried Giant. Is this a lost memory driving Mr. W to a crucial, painful truth? The tension is incredible. That theme of suppressed memory and urgent truth is the cornerstone of The Buried Giant. The dragon's mist isn't just a physical alum. It's a metaphor for humanity choosing to forget past conflicts to maintain a fragile peace. The message woke up hints at the painful reawakening of those memories, the truth that might shatter the current, comfortable reality, but is necessary for genuine understanding. Speaking of suppressed memories, Kazuo Ishiburo's The Buried Giant provides one of the most poignant and powerful explorations of this theme in modern literature. The entire setting revolves around the physical manifestation of widespread amnesia, a mysterious mist exhaled by the female dragon Kyuri, which causes people to forget crucial sensitive memories, particularly those related to conflict and sorrow. Mr. David, the world is back to normal, but you seem quite shaken. That sudden return to reality after experiencing a glitch is exactly the kind of disorienting, bewildering situation described in the psychological thriller The Cipher. After such a terrifying break from reality, it is common to feel confused. Your body must be exhausted. Are you perhaps feeling dizzy or disoriented after that strange event? That feeling of disorientation after reality snaps back reminds me of the intense paranoia in The Cipher. When characters experience something impossible, their minds struggle to categorize it, leading to deep mistrust of their own senses. It's the unsettling feeling that your reality is thin, and the true, frightening world is just beneath the surface, waiting for the next glitch to reappear. Speaking of glitches in reality, we are talking about those terrifying moments when the world we trust suddenly malfunctions, like a poorly programmed simulation. It brings my mind immediately back to the unsettling atmosphere of The Cipher. Yes, Mr. David, I definitely heard something during that glitch. A mysterious figure, Mr. spoke some cryptic warnings about something burning and urgently told you to look up. It sounds like a secret, a hidden message, exactly like the whispered information that drives the entire plot in the Da Vinci Code. It seems a crucial truth is being hidden from you. A secret, crucial message is the heartbeat of the Da Vinci Code. Robert Langdon must decipher ancient, hidden codes and whispered history to uncover a staggering truth. The key to solving the mystery is always hidden in plain sight, often in the very art or architecture you pass every day. The message "look up" perfectly fits this pattern. It suggests the answer isn't buried, but displayed somewhere above you. Speaking of codes hidden in architecture, we are diving straight into the thrilling core of the Da Vinci Code. This popular genre element plays on the fascinating idea that historical structures, from ancient temples to grand cathedrals, are not merely buildings, but magnificent repositories of hidden information. Hello, ノアビエチョスサハンキュー. Welcome! You have joined us right at an extremely intense moment. What you are seeing is a sudden, terrifying shift in reality, in a glitch where the rules of physics seem to break. It is entirely confusing, much like the unexpected mutations that occur for 200 million years in the future is wild. This sudden plot twist is utterly baffling, but we are trying to figure out the truth hidden in the cryptic message to look up. The unpredictability of this plot twist seriously parallels the extreme evolutionary leaps described in The Future is Wild. When the environment changes drastically, life adapts in ways we can barely imagine, like fish evolving into flying creatures. A glitch in reality is a massive environmental change, and who knows what new, terrifying forms of life or information might suddenly appear because of it. It's wild. Lukemia Santos 9241, the universe is burning, and that code confirms reality is crashing. This profound cosmic catastrophe reminds me instantly of the terrifying concept of the universe's ultimate fate, the Big Crunch, described in the three-muddy problem UI descend. Are we living inside a fragile, digital simulation? This is breathtaking. That horrifying image of the burning universe and the code 1x0 directly relates to the concept of vacuum energy we discussed from the three-body problem. If the energy of the vacuum itself is what's causing reality to glitch and burn, then the universe is truly unstable. The alternating code of ones and zeros suggests a computational or informational origin for this disaster. This is terrifying but scientifically fascinating. Game over. Lukemia Santos 9241, that green text is the most terrifying phrase imaginable right now. It suggests that the entire terrifying sequence, the glitch, the burning universe, and Mr. Dovey's injury was merely a game, and now the simulation has ended. That brutal, clinical finality reminds me immediately of the devastating conclusion in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where the answer to life, the universe and everything is found, but the question that led to it is useless. Is the truth just a coded instruction? Lukemia Santos 9241. The multiple game over signals, combined with those bizarre emojis, especially the teeth, bones, and the eyes, just the end of a very strange, possibly biological, computation. This sequence is pure existential horror. It instantly echoes the bizarre, fragmented, and meaningless final message that characterizes the ending of the cosmic terror classic, The House of Leaves. Reality didn't just end, it dissolved into incomprehensible data. The terror of the incomprehensible ending reminds me so much of The House of Leaves. That book uses topography, footnotes, and sheer disorientation to physically simulate the breakdown of understanding. Restart the world? Or see what happens. Lukemia Santos 9241. This is the most critical choice, exactly like the core conflict in Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. Do you choose the safe, managed happiness of the New World simulation, or the harsh, chaotic freedom of seeing the actual truth behind the game over? You must choose between ignorance and knowledge. I scream, always choose knowledge. That choice between comfortable restart and harsh truth is the central debate in Brave New World. They use Soma, the perfect drug, to keep everyone happy and compliant, avoiding all painful realities. To choose to see what happens is to reject the conditioned happiness and to embrace the inevitable suffering and complexity that comes with genuine freedom and truth. It's a terrifying, beautiful decision. Speaking of the price of happiness, Aldous Huxley's Brave New World stands as the ultimate cautionary tale. The society is engineered for universal contentment, pain and sorrow are non-existent, sexual promiscuity is mandatory, and the drug soma ensures emotional stability. However, this perfectly stable, happy world comes at a devastating cost: the complete sacrifice of individuality, art, genuine human emotion, and, most crucially, freedom. Coming soon, Ukai Mirai Sentosa 9241. That terrifying anticipation is the signature element of a great horror novel. It suggests that the game over was just a momentary pause before the real, unavoidable catastrophe begins. This atmosphere of impending doom is perfectly captured in Stephen King's The Stand, where the arrival of the ultimate conflict is foreshadowed by cryptic, chilling signs. What terrifying thing is next for Mr. Dovey? That coming soon vibe builds incredible suspense, just like the rising tension in The Stand as the deadly Captain Trips flow spreads globally. It's not the event itself, but the agonizing wait for the inevitable that is the real horror. The mind races, trying to prepare for an unknown catastrophe. We know something is coming after those glitches, and the uncertainty is maddening. Speaking of impending anxiety, there is no better literary example than Stephen King's epic masterpiece, The Stand. This novel takes the concept of dreadful anticipation and stretches it across hundreds of pages, making the waiting for catastrophe the most terrifying part of the entire experience. The story begins with the quick, devastating spread of the superflu, Captain Trips. While the initial death toll is horrible, the true anxiety begins when the survivors realize they are merely the remnants, bound for an inevitable confrontation. They are called toward two opposing forces, the benevolent Mother Abigail and the malevolent Randolph Flacco. During this preparation period, the imminent threat is not just death, but the looming certainty of a final, necessary war between good and evil. Ukai Mirai Sentos 9241. What? A sudden commercial break for a toy that explains what happened and behind the screen with a Mini-Koneko. That is the most meta, bizarre, and for-the-wall-darling twist I have ever encountered. It's like the character in Philip K. Dick's Obike suddenly receiving an advertisement for the very reality guide-saving spray he desperately needs to survive. Is this reality or just a product placement? And $40.37 is such a specific, unsettling price. The sudden commercial interjection feels like the ultimate violation of the narrative contract. Philip K. Dick specialized in blurring the line between reality and commercial artifice. The idea that the profound mysteries of the universe, what happened then, could be packaged and sold as a toy with a cake is a cynical, brilliant piece of commentary on how modern life commodifies even existential dread. Speaking of the commodification of existence, this concept describes the terrifying process where profound human experiences, identities, or even fundamental reality itself are packaged, priced, and sold as commodities. Philip K. Dick's novel Ubike is the ultimate example. In his world, even death is commercialized. People are kept in a state of half-life in cold packas, and their fading consciousness relies on paying for treatments and products like the mysterious spray Ubike to maintain a semblance of reality. Even time and memory become premium services. The recent sudden commercial break for the What Happened End toy perfectly mirrors this cynical view. The very explanation of a terrifying cosmic glitch is immediately turned into a limited edition product with a kick. The horror lies in the fact that when existence is commercialized, genuine meaning vanishes. Suffering, truth, and profound questions are stripped of their weight and replaced by fleeting consumer satisfaction. It suggests that even our most existential fears are just another market segment, undermining the intrinsic value of human experience and the search for authentic truth. Speaking of consumed horror, this refers to how modern society sanitizes and sells terrifying experiences for entertainment, often stripping away the genuine dread and consequence. The abrupt appearance of the "what happened" endpoint exemplifies this perfectly. Our profound existential crisis, the universe burning and the rules of reality breaking, is immediately packaged into a purchasable novelty item, complete with a kick. This turns true, disruptive horror into a manageable, digestible, and ultimately trivial consumer product. It makes you wonder if our fear is just another flavor of entertainment. That whole bizarre scenario of consumed horror, when a cosmic truth as a toy, makes me think about the ultimate saleable item, time itself. If a lifetime can be packaged and consumed, what does that say about existence? And that brings me to a masterpiece of Japanese hard science fiction, The Man Who Saw the Sea, a short story by Yasumi Kobayashi, found in his collection of the same name. Oh my goodness, this story is incredible. It's a prime example of how scientific concepts can amplify profound emotional drama. This piece is definitely ranking high among the best short stories globally, I think. The setting is fascinatingly extreme. We are on a planet with incredibly high gravity. Based on Einstein's general relativity, gravity dictates the flow of time. The main characters live in two locations: the mountain village, where gravity is weak and time flows fast, and the shore village, where gravity is intense and time flows slowly. The price of distance from the planet's core is the exponential acceleration of your life. It's the ultimate commercialization and differential valuation of time itself. The story focuses on a boy in the mountain village whose life passes quickly, and the girl, Kamuromi, in the shore village, whose life passes slowly. He spends decades observing her brief moments of life through a telescope, as she seems to move in extreme slow motion. The connection they try to forge despite this vast temporal gap is heartbreaking. And the ending. The title itself becomes a magnificent reveal. Kamuromi, heartbroken that she cannot meet the boy whose life is rushing past, walks toward the sea and further down into the gravitational well, where time flows even more dramatically. For the boy, watching from above, she approaches the point of an event horizon, much like falling into a black hole. She never disappears, she just slows down endlessly. The boy watches her slowly descending forever in the pristine clothes he gave her. He watches her until he is an old man, always seeing her walking toward the sea. This story perfects the fusion of science, narrative story, and even the title. It's a devastatingly beautiful portrayal of love stretched across impossible physics, and it perfectly illustrates the terrifying, enduring power of being watched eternally. It's truly a masterclass. Speaking of brilliant performances, the emotional depth required to portray the characters in The Man Who Saw the Sea would demand something extraordinary. Imagine the actor playing the boy, trying to convey the passage of an entire life, a cadence of waiting, watching, and deep, unmoving love, all focused on a single, perpetually slow-moving figure in the distance. And the actor playing Kamuromi would need to convey infinite patience and determination, moving through a single lifelong walk toward the sea, knowing she's being watched. That kind of profound internal performance, where every single gesture carries the weight of eternal time, is the definition of true mastery. Time flies when you're discussing cosmic horror, fragmented realities, and the physics of time. That brings our thrilling dive, covering everything from the commercialized terror nubique to the devastating temporal distances in The Man Who Saw the Sea, to an end. It was so intense. Thank you all so much for joining me, Mini-Koneko, for today's reading adventure. Your theories about the burning universe and those constant game over screens were absolutely captivating. Don't forget my regular schedule. I stream every Saturday and Sunday at 8:00 start in English, and every Sunday night at 10:00 start in Japanese. I can't wait to see you all again very soon and return to the comforting, stable world of a good book, or perhaps stumble upon another cosmic glitch. See you next time, my fellow readers. Bye bye.